Good morning, internets. It is another beautiful day in Las Vegas. It actually is going to be super nice today. Our high for the day is 77. Right this second, it's 55 degrees. And I started out with 37 miles of battery-only range in the 2012 Chevy Volt Premium, for those of you keeping score at home. And please keep sending me your data. Today, I want to talk about Volkswagen. Volkswagen has announced that they are going to be changing their iconic VW logo. Now, this crazy move to rebrand. At first I was like, Volkswagen can't change the logo? Like, it's iconic. Like, I know I already used that word, but it very much is. Such a huge part of the brand is that logo. And it's instantly recognizable. When you see a VW badge, you know that that's a Volkswagen, even if you're not a car guy. For the most part, everybody knows what the Volkswagen logo is. But it actually does make some sense for this company to rebrand after dieselgate. Now, this is, if you're not familiar, this is a scandal a couple of years ago where Volkswagen came out with these motors that they termed the clean diesel, and it was supposed to be extremely low emissions and extremely high miles per gallon. But what actually happened was they installed computers in those cars that were designed to basically fake out the testing devices used to test for emissions. And they used a lot of clever methods. With, like, when you put one of these vehicles on a machine, the vehicle is strapped down and the motor, runs, and there's nobody touching the steering wheel. And they put a piece of programming in there where, as long as the car was pointed straight and no one was touching the steering wheel didn't get bumped, it would run at a certain level of emissions. But the instant the steering wheel was touched, it would change the fuel, the air and fuel mixture, and change a couple of other things in the tune to make the car perform better, but just dumping lots and lots of NO2 out into the environment. And we're familiar with CO2 emissions from gas burning cars, but diesel makes, NO2. And when that stuff gets dumped out in the environment, yeah, it's also a greenhouse gas, but it's extremely acidic, and it's actually the gas responsible for the phenomena of acid rain, whereby naturally occurring rainstorms fall through smog and turn acidic and fall on naturally occurring rock formations, buildings, statues, that sort of thing, and dissolve them pretty rapidly over time. But anyway, so Volkswagen did this. They knowingly did this. They put all of these motors out in these cars out into the environment. I actually worked for somebody who drove one. She drove the Jetta and was so excited about it when she bought it. She leased the car, the diesel Jetta, and was so thrilled with it and loved the car so much that she then bought the car she had been leasing, like the exact example of that car, only to find out, later in the year that it was part of that dieselgate scandal. Now, that really hurt the brand, Volkswagen. They had been dishonest with consumers, and there's this really weird thing surrounding Volkswagen where the manufacturer came out of World War II, and we all know the design lineage and everything, the similarities between the way a Beetle is shaped and the similarities between a Porsche is shaped is not accidental. It's all Ferdinand Porsche. The Volkswagen is like the people's car and was a thing that Hitler ordered to have made. And so that's where we get Volkswagen from. And so from like these very dubious roots of, Nazis, out of that we get all the counterculture that came with Volkswagen in the 60s and 70s, with the way that those Beetles and buses were being transformed into, their free love mobiles, and being painted up. And they're at this point almost permanently associated with hippies. So to have that sort of counterculture adhere to the brand, and then to have Volkswagen itself sort of betray those free love baby boomers that they were then marketing those motors to later, really hurt Volkswagen. And they've been trying to recover the brand ever since. Now, one of the things that Volkswagen sees right now is an opportunity to get in on the Chinese market. That's going to be, if it isn't already, it's going to be the biggest market for consumer vehicles in the world. and China is growing rapidly. They have a rapidly expanding economy, and more, like one of the goals of people in China, and our family actually hosted a foreign exchange student from Beijing, and she was talking to us about this and about how rapidly things are changing there and about how fast the economy is growing, and how it's like it's a mark of pride if you or your household can purchase and own a vehicle, can own your own car. It's a big deal to not be completely reliant on to not rely completely on public transportation if you live in China. And so with that being a goal of so many people, and there being so many Chinese people, that, and now they're increasingly of the means to afford cars and have cars and own cars, somebody's got to sell them those cars, and Volkswagen wants to jump up and be ahead of the game. Now China is getting rid of internal combustion for a lot of different classes of vehicles, and consumer vehicles are one of them. Volkswagen intends to release an electric version, an all-electric version of all 300 of, and that's a rough number, it's a little more, it's a little less, but it's about 300 different models of Volkswagens, and they want to release an electric version of all of them. And so this is where we get the idea of rebranding and changing the Volkswagen badge. The Volkswagen badge is the new design that they're going to come up with is meant to, and what they've said is this is going to be released sometime next year. We don't know what it's going to look like, but the most important thing about it is, quote, to make the Volkswagen brand seem more approachable and to communicate its new electric direction. So that, one second, guys. Need some water. That to me is very clearly an attempt to continue to recover the brand after Dieselgate. Now, Volkswagen owns a lot of things. Volkswagen owns a lot. It's not just Volkswagen. A lot of the cars you see on the road are owned by Volkswagen. Volkswagen owns Lamborghini, for goodness sake. Volkswagen owns a lot of things. They're this massive corporation. So you're not really going to pick apart Volkswagen, and they are making huge investments in the future. I'm very excited about the all-electric, 300 models. As in, more electric cars is better than less electric cars. This is a great idea. Changing up the badge is going to be quite the thing. And then what are we going to see from customizers and Volkswagen enthusiasts? I mean, I just went to a Volkswagen show a couple of weekends ago out in Boulder City, and it was all classic V-dubs. So you just know it's going to be a point of pride to have that old V-dub badge on something. I want to see like a new Volkswagen that's supposed to have the new badge on it, rebranded with, restuck on there with the classic badge. Those are going to be, and this is going to be many, many years from now, but like those badges are all of a sudden going to be collectible when they stop making them. Things like that are pretty exciting. I'd like to see some old Volkswagens with the new badge put on them. Like, I think we're going to see those kinds of things from Volkswagen people. I'm not Volkswagen people. I like the buses a lot. Someday I would love to have one of the classic VW buses. I'd love to have it converted over to electric if possible, but hey, if I can't get it converted over to electric, I would settle for a Porsche motor in the bus. That would be cool. I know it's been done to death and I've seen it, but it's just, there's something so cool about that bus, and then you lift up that hatch in the back and you see the Porsche motor, and doubly good if you could put Porsche wheels on it. And every time I see that done on a bus, I'm happy. Every single time. I don't care that it's been done before. I want one. I think it's neat. Although obviously all electric would be the preference there. But I like Volkswagen. I had a Volkswagen myself. I drove a Passat for a while, and I was betrayed by that vehicle repeatedly. It wasn't a diesel. It was just a regular gas burning car, the 2.2T. with a little turbo and everything, and just nothing but problems. But when it was running well, it was a really wonderful car to drive. It was fun to drive. It was snappy. That turbo was supposed to be for fuel efficiency, but it also was for fun. And the interior of the car was just luscious. It was big, cushy leather seats and really comfortable suspension, and just a really nice car. And I liked Volkswagen for that, and I started going to Volkswagen shows and seeing what other people were doing with Passats and things like that. There's a Volkswagen meetup once a month at Sunset Park, which is very near to where I live, and so I would go check that Volkswagen's a very, very cool brand for a lot of different reasons, but that move they pulled with the emissions was a very uncool thing to do. And I think that that's what it's going to take for them to recover the brand. I think what it's going to take is for them to electrify everything as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And perhaps redesigning the badge will help. Perhaps it won't. But I really want to know what you guys think. Are you happy that they're rebranding the badge? Are you unhappy about it? Does it make you sad that we're not going to see the old classic chrome, you know, the V-dub? Or like, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about all of their cars being made available electric? Now, all of those cars that they're going to make available in electric are not all going to be available in the United States. A lot of them are only going to be available in parts of Europe and China. And that part I'm kind of sad about. I think that, like, the more electric cars we have here, the more push there's going to be for the infrastructure that we need. And the more infrastructure we have, the more people are going to be comfortable with buying electric cars. And that'll be a happy little cycle that continues to increase availability of non-fossil fuel burning cars. But hey, what do I know? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think this is kind of exciting. Do you think it's going to work? Is the rebranding worth doing? It's going to cost them a lot of money. What do you guys think? Let me know. And I think that's going to do it for me today, guys. And this is your first time on the channel, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing right over here. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Here's some other videos I think you'll enjoy right down here. My name is Catherine with EVs of Nevada. I hope everybody's having a really great day. Please remember to like, subscribe, and smile.